Okay. No, I mean letting people in. We could
Yeah.
start, but you could start saying hello to people, and I usually remind people that. Good
Hello.
morning. Happy Sunday, mi gente. Happy to see old faces, familiar faces, new faces, excited faces, tired faces. And go get your cafecito. Yo tengo
I
el
see.
mío aquí. Go get your writing utensils.
I spy someone I know. Hi, Eduardo.
¿Cómo estamos?
Eduardo, tú
Estamos
conoces a
muy
todo el
bien.
mundo, Eduardo. Tú estás igual que yo.
Pero nadie me conocía a mí, entonces estoy bien.
Yo te conocí. Yo dije.
You met him through Carolina, right?
Yeah.
I figure.
You figured?
That's how it was.
Oh, I'm so happy to see these beautiful faces. If you can, I know I don't want to force anyone to do anything uncomfortable, but I would love to see everyone. Keep your camera off if it feels terrible to turn it on, but
O vayan a peinarse si tienen que peinarse. Look,
throw that
Mel,
clothes
Mel,
behind you into the closet.
¿qué tú haces donde Judy, Mel?
Oh, Ruth you're muted. I know you're saying something.
Where's Judy? You're muted, Mel. This is how much of a family we are. These are my retreat folks. Mel went to last year's retreat. Judy did. No, Mel did. Yeah, damn, we in 2025. Mel did 2024. Judy did 2023, and she came back to volunteer in 2024.
No, wait, I did 24. No,
You
mentira. Yeah,
volunteered
20.
in 2024.
That's right. You're right. You're right.
She was the tia that brought everybody tea at the retreat.
That's right. Y hice remedio. Si están enfermitos, ven a comer
The
remedio.
one that was collecting la hierba, toda esa vaina.
Oh, thank you for the comments. Ilani, that's so cool. Thank you. I hope you get some good gems off of this. So
Celi, 11 a.m. Eso no es nada, Celi. Siendo que tú te cepillaste y te peinaste, you good.
the pressure. Is everyone? Well, no, I saw somebody was in LA, right?
Yeah, Celi is in LA.
Ellie. Hi, Sally. Okay, you're getting yourself together. Got it. So we got Ruth, Ilani, Eduardo.
Oh my God, B, you got a fever? So sorry, girl. You need a remedio. Ask Judy, que ella recomienda. El remedio de la cebolla, la manzana, the
Yo lo
cinnamon.
puse en Instagram. Just follow me on Instagram. Yo hice
Oh,
video.
you put the ingredients of the remedio for the
Todo,
grief?
mi amor. Todo, mi amor. Está todo.
There you go. Follow Judy for Dominican remedios.
I'm gonna have to check that out too. I have one saved from Brew House of Brooklyn. Bueno, okay, let's just give it like 30 seconds, 1 minute more.
Yeah, I'm going to introduce you, Carolina, so don't start just yet.
Tú sabes, I get ahead. I get ahead.
I'm gonna put some respect on your name.
For some respect.
For some people who don't know who you is. Let me see. Felix. I was about to text him. Manny, te debo algo. Don't kill me. You know I'm uber busy. I'm gonna get to it. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna get to it today, Manny, okay?
Nah, coge tu tiempo.
Hey, Felix.
Hi, Felix. Welcome. Thank you so much, everyone.
Good morning, everyone.
All right, folks. Good morning. We have new people here? Who's new? Otherwise, I don't need to reintroduce myself, right? But I'm Angie. I'm the founder of Dominican Writers. Thank you for coming through to the Writer Salon. We turned 5 this year. We started the pandemic and we've been consistently offering free writing workshops every Sunday for the past 5 years. So I'm proud. It's been a lot of work, but I'm glad that we've been consistent. So, Elsie, thank you for being here. All the newcomers, aquí somos familia, okay? A lot of these folks come by every Sunday. You'll see familiar faces. So, get comfortable. Today's facilitator is Carolina Alduey. She is a certified professional coach and a seasoned entertainment industry professional with over 2 decades of experience. She has worked with global icons like Beyoncé and John Legend and collaborated with major brands such as Netflix and Hennessy. Through her workshops and coaching, Carolina helps individuals overcome limiting beliefs, connect with the creative flow, and achieve clarity in their goals. Her mission is to empower you to live authentically and align with their true creative potential. You see, I know people and I bring people to you. Okay? I extend my network and my family to you. So take advantage of this workshop. I hope it does everything you need it to do for you. And that I get a lot of people hitting me up saying, Angie, I'm ready to take over this project. What should I be doing? How should I start? Whatever. Okay. So all yours, Carolina.
Thank you so much, Angie, for that introduction and for the work that you do for the community. I think we just need to just do a woo for Angie because of everything that you do. So I'm going to be looking at my phone because that's where my notes are. So forgive me. I hate doing this thing. I really just want to see all your faces. I'm also going to be pulling up a presentation that will then take away your faces from me. And I don't like that. So I'm going to go back and forth and we'll see what feels good. But good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. Thank you so much for being here with me. I'm so excited to see all of y'all. I'm a little bit sad because of the TikTok ban. Is anybody sad over that today? Is anybody feeling that today? Yeah, I was a little obsessed yesterday. I did a lot of scrolling. But yeah, I mean, even better reason to be here. We have to find ways to continue honoring our creative impulses, our creative missions, and finding new ways to express ourselves and share our art and our work. So welcome to this Creative Clarity Coaching Workshop. A little background on me, Angie gave you some of it, but yeah, I've been in entertainment forever, was a publicist first in the music industry, then I expanded into working with brands and then became a talent manager, working with all kinds of creatives and ultimately with writers for TV and film. And so I come from that world. And I really found that the thing that really kind of lit my fire was helping creatives get clear and connected to what their infinite intelligence has to say, has to give to them, because that's really the number one thing. So why am I here right now? I'm here to tell you that in this journey, your most important work is connecting to and honoring your divine creative flow. There is literally nothing more important. That is the thing. That is the mission. Maybe you guys all know this, but I feel I often have to remind people of this. So yeah. There's also a beautiful zest and exhilaration that comes with honoring your creative flow. And I want you to learn to retain that, access it again and again. So here we go. I'm so interested in looking at your faces that I already forgot to share my freaking screen. So let's go into present mode here. So this is where we are. Let's see, how can I still see some of your faces? There we go. This is what we're doing. We are doing a creative clarity workshop to unlock your creative flow and master a success mindset. And we're gonna go here. I told you about me. And that's your most important work. It's to connect and honor to your divine creative flow. And this is the goal. It's to learn to access and retain that creative flow again and again, right? So we're going to do something now. Let's see, we're going to get the body moving and flowing. So I want us to move a little bit around. It's Sunday. I know you're like, Gato, don't make me move. Don't make me get out of my seat. But we have to move. We have to move. So we're gonna do a little stretch for just like 2 quick minutes, okay? I'm gonna put some conejito malo. And we're just gonna stretch, okay? Just do a little stretch. I just want everyone to just kind of shake it out. Eduardo, I'm looking at you. You know?
Carolina, don't put any music that you're gonna get copywritten, because then the video on YouTube is not gonna be.
You know, I shouldn't be telling you that. I should know that. 30 seconds is usually okay though, 15, 30 seconds. But you're right. So yes, we're gonna stretch, move, just move the body to make sure we're all here. Stretch your legs, whatever feels good. That was good for me too. And now we're gonna take if everyone's ready. Those off camera, I trust that you are moving. Give me a hell yeah if you're moving and you're not on camera. All right, and now we're gonna
Hell
take.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I'm still eating. I'm just finishing my breakfast.
That's okay. You know what? This is around the time that I eat too. So, all right, and now we're gonna take a deep breath so we can kind of ground ourselves a little bit. Just a deep breath in. And out through the mouth. Okay, if you want to take more, feel free to take more. All right, so let's get into this. Let's pull this up. Second. So, actually, not yet. Done. How many of you, by show of hands, how many of you have done this workshop before? Or you could raise your digital hands. Okay. Are all you writers, or are there other type of creatives here? Everyone here is a writer, or are you working on other creative endeavors? I mean, I think creatives kind of always have a little bit of everything, but okay. Poet, yes. Okay. Herbalist as well. Nice. Very cool. Okay. Great. What else? Poet, writer, visual artist. Nice. All right. So, all right. Cool. Here, I'm going to share this now for real. So the first step in honoring your creative hunches is, you know, showing up. So I just want to say congratulations to you. You're here. You showed up. You did that. So yes. Now there's a couple of things that we're going to do here. All right. So if I can click next. We're going to talk about these things today. What successful creatives do. They honor flow with action, they honor craft, and they are the CEOs of their creative lives. So those are the 3 things that we're going to talk about today. And before we get deep into that, I want to ask if everyone here knows their why. Does everyone here understand why they're doing what they're doing? Okay. Don't say it just yet. We're gonna have an exercise around this. So, but this is being a creative is hard work. Putting yourself out there is hard work. You know, like putting your art and your work out there for people to judge is difficult. So, like this is a terrible idea. Like, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? Okay, so we're gonna do a prompt. Okay, and I'm gonna give you all. Well, it says 2 minutes here. That actually was meant to say 5 minutes. But I want you to tell me your why. Try to go through the list of the reasons that you're doing what you're doing, okay? Tell me your why. We're going to take 5 minutes to do that, okay? So just write your why. I'll set the timer. And if you're all done, you can even start raising your hands if it's before the 5 minutes. Felix, what's up? Is it that you're done?
I'm done. I was done from the time you said why.
Cool. All right, we'll give the rest a couple more minutes. There's actually a reason why I originally had it as 2 minutes. Oops. Can y'all still see my face too? Okay, I
Yeah, we-
figured out a way to do this. I'm gonna give us like 1 more minute. And if you need more time, let me know. All right, who needs more time? Just raise your hand if you do. Stop share here. All right, as we know, this is a safe space. So I do want to call on some of you to share if everyone's ready and feeling good. Is anybody willing to share some answers? Maybe there's 1 or 2 of you that. Okay, Ilani.
Yeah, so my why is writing makes my inner child very happy because that was always her dream. I've been writing since 3rd grade, and ever since, like, that has been my thing. Like, my answer never changed whenever teachers asked me, what do you want to be when you grow up? I always said an author, a writer, a poet. And that passion has never left. It has stuck with me throughout all of high school, throughout my first year of college. And so I am basically making both of our dreams come true. And I also use poetry as a coping mechanism, and I also use it as a way to address different issues because poetry is deeply political.
Awesome. Thank you for that beautiful answer, Ilani. Anyone else? So I can read some of the ones that are in the chat. B, when it feels good, I feel like I'm being guided to by some source, and in a way is my duty. When the years go by and the idea is still present, but I haven't done it yet, I tend to feel more pain than from actually creating the thing. Oof, ain't that the truth? That's a big one. Okay. Let's see. Anyone else want to share? Oh, yep, you're on mute. Judelis.
Hi, I'm Mel with Julie's.
Hi,
But
Mel.
I used to say that it was because I'd want someone out there to feel seen or heard, but I don't know if that's number one anymore. I I want my narrative to just be heard, remembered, seen, understood, and perhaps be a person or the person that ignites more understanding in the world, that with my narrative, people get closer to acceptance of differences and varieties.
That's awesome. Yeah. And then Julie says it's part of my healing journey, and for the healing journey, I want to facilitate for others. Okay, Felix, I know you're raising your hand. We'll take one more. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, writing has taken on many forms for me as far as a tool for survival, also a tool to document my own personal history. But more so it's because I want to be able to prove that I can do anything that I set my mind to, right? Regardless of whatever, regardless of MFA or not, like, self-taught and in every capacity. Give me a book, show me a workshop, do whatever it takes. For me personally, I can't justify um paying into my craft and in that manner of grad school and so forth. I'm already at that level for me personally.
Yeah. That's awesome. These are all wonderful answers. And I was going to throw a wrench into this, but I think all of you kind of accept this already and understand this. Like, do we have to have a why for creative expression? Like, do we have to have this enormous thing, that says this is why we're doing what we're doing? Or is it just for creative expression's sake, right? I don't know the answer, to that. I think everything you said, everything everyone said here so far feels like totally in alignment with this, is that everything that we do is to create more joy in our lives and to help us feel good. Like, it's important to understand all of our whys, but before we do that, we need to understand that living the full breadth and depth of life is reason enough, right? Like full expression, that's like reason enough. That's the big secret. And I think often too, when we come from our cultures, it feels like, because maybe our parents were escaping something or there was some hardship or it's like it was survival, like we need to have this other reason. But I think we need to accept that to feel good is a big, big reason. It's reason enough. And self-expression and exploration is reason enough, right? So I'm going to share this. This is why I have here, everything we do leads to feeling good, right? And that's a good reason. And I just want everyone to be more aware of that and accept it. Accept that we deserve to feel that's part of the creative process, is to honor that feeling and to know that it's okay. So, all right. So let's talk about where you are right now in your writing process. And we're going to talk about flow as well. So how often do you experience like this big download eureka moment that you're just like super in flow, that you have this amazing idea? Like how often do you feel the lightning bolt? Like, is that something that comes to you often, or do you feel like you're more creatively stagnant and you feel like you're often trying to find those signs? Go ahead, Ilani.
For me, I think it depends on the season of my writing. Sometimes I literally can't put a single word on the page, and then other times I'm writing 5 poems in one night. So I think it kind of depends on where I'm at in my life. Like my current circumstances, like if school is just really stressful, or if there's something going on with my family, then like writing might be more difficult for me. But for the most part, like on a good day, like it's flowing pretty well. Like usually I wake up with a poetry idea and then I start my morning off with writing.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Gerald?
Yeah, similar to what you said about seasons, I think for me, there are times in my life where I feel that I can't not only think of ideas, but the projects that I have outstanding, I can't seem to move them forward. And then there are periods of my life where I'm particularly creative, or I'm producing a lot. And I don't know that I have like a surefire reason for why, whether that's because, I was depressed in that particular season or because I was particularly happy or joyous in that particular season, right? So I feel like that shifts, but for me recently, and who knows, maybe check back with me in like 6 months to a year, but recently I feel that part of it has to do, for me at least, has to do with, I think, insecurity or imposter syndrome. So when I don't write for long periods of time, everything feels bad and I don't know why I'm doing it. And then I feel like when I'm in a hard period of time, I have to just expel it out of me. But lately I've been working a lot on that. And in doing so, I think I've been able to be more consistently creative because I've suspended some of that judgment of myself and the work itself.
Yeah.
And it has allowed me to do that. And in being able to be working more consistently, I've been able to consistently produce more at a different cadence depending on the day or week. But that's, I got, those are my thoughts on that. Thank you.
Thank you. No, that's a great share and a great segue to where we're going to next, because the truth is that oftentimes we have these big downloads and we're like, oh my God, I have this incredible idea. And then we usually start getting into our heads after that, right? And then we start looking for another lightning bolt. Like, where is it? And we're like looking up to the sky. Where are the signs? Like, I need to know, what is it that I need to be doing right now? And I want to just let you know that we're always receiving the signs, and there's different ways that we get them, right? So we're going to go into our first part, which is honoring flow with action, right? So I want us to get into the exercise of writing the vomit draft, right? Does everyone here know what a vomit draft is? Or can anyone just guess what a vomit draft is? Emmanuel.
It's like when you just take like maybe 5 to 10 minutes or however long you want to just like spit whatever you word you want on the page, like just whatever comes to your mind without stressing if it's perfect, without stressing if it's the right thing to say. It's like just get all your thoughts out and just
Yeah.
edit it later.
Yeah. Yeah. So I found often, especially working with screenwriters, that a lot of times there wouldn't be a project done because they would expect the project to be perfect on the page before, before any brainstorming, before any vomit draft, before any draft, right? And so, yes, as you said, the vomit draft, and this is just my definition of a vomit draft, and there might be others out there, but just stream of thought, incoherent, nonsensical version of whatever project you're working on, put to paper. I repeat, it does not have to make sense or be coherent. A lot of times there's a lot of resistance to just even doing that because we think it has to be this polished, perfect piece, right, at the end. So I want to actually put this to the test right now. I want us to work on a vomit draft. I'm going to give you 5 minutes to work on this. And really, this works best when it's a chapter of something you wanted to write, when it's a new project that it's like this deep, dark project underneath you that you've been putting off for a really long time. I want you to work on the thing that you've been most afraid of working on. And I want us to get into the exercise of doing this vomit draft. So I'm going to give you a true 5 minutes this time to work on this. The thing that's been coming up for you that you haven't been able to address because you feel like it's not perfect. Again, incoherent thoughts, stream of thought. Let's go. Any questions before we go in? All right. We have like 2 more minutes. If you're feeling any resistance, maybe write about that as well. Right, we got like 1 more minute. Less than a minute. Okay. So let's stop there. Does anybody want to share either what they wrote or what came up for them with this process? Or both? Elani.
Yeah, I would. So there's a little profanity in here, but it's not a lot. It's only like 2 words. Um, Don't leave the disabled person behind, because even though we may not look it, we are fast as fuck. We have learned to use our limbs in ways no other person can. Some of us are even part robot with metal plates and fake legs, but we're not any less human. Because I may not look disabled, but I still need help sometimes. Why do I need a wheelchair for validation? Dear able-bodied people, fuck your validation. Because I have a chronic illness. Have you thought about cutting out sugar? What about a low-carb diet? No, you are not a licensed doctor, so stop acting like one. Because we are not inconvenient. The 2 minutes it will take for you to hold the door open won't kill you, I promise. Because we deserve love and kindness too.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Was that something that you had any resistance writing before?
Yeah, a little bit. Just because I'm part of like the invisible disability community, so I always felt like I wasn't allowed to write about the disabled community because we're often invalidated even within our own community, which is really sad. So I've been kind of debating back and forth whether or not I wanted to write it, because a lot of the time I do share my writing online. So I was kind of thinking, like, would this be something I would want to put out there?
I think it's phenomenal. Definitely worth putting out there, my 2 cents.
It sounds a lot. It's aligned with the workshop from last week. We touched a lot on disabilities. That was great.
Yeah, that's what inspired it. Yeah.
Good for you. Good for you.
Okay. Anyone else want to share their thoughts?
I'll write to. Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Rosita, you wanted to share your thoughts? Sorry.
Well, so I have a question. My thought, further thought on what was read, or My own writing.
Or your own writing, whatever you wanted to share.
Okay. All right. So I wrote in diary form. That's what came out.
Okay.
I am so happy that I was able to order my breakfast before the writers' workshop. I thought I had missed it because my kitchen clock is still in daylight savings time, an hour ahead of winter time. I was so hungry I could not think properly. What is interesting is that thinking that I had missed most of the workshop, I opted to eat the sandwich and sacrifice the main activity of my Sundays. Okay, I am here. This morning, I wrote a review of the Leslie Lohman exhibit titled Re-Sisterhood. I sent it to my friends. I wrote it because I was angered by it as it colonizes sisterhood for the purpose other than the sisters. Afterwards, I engaged in a recurrent thought that I ought to write reviews of films, songs, and exhibits and publish them. That inspire me to do so and publish them because I do have a very unique political take on these from the lesbian feminist perspective. The end.
Awesome. Now, did you have any resistance with that at first? I could tell you started it off with your experience today, which is a really nice way to get into the flow, right?
Right, being present, grounding.
Yeah.
And also I notice how I write almost perfectly, it just comes right out that way. And that's good because it means it's usable.
Exactly.
With touches, yeah.
Exactly. Okay, Felix, and then Judelie, and then we'll keep going.
Okay, I'm a pacifist. I survived Rikers Island in an interesting way. So this piece is called When It's War All Around You, I Choose Nonviolence. Grave mistake thinking within a box until within a box, though thought to think outside the box. Watching the world consume honor to the bone, one way or another self-medication occurs, or those with more by whatever means succeed, leaving those without access to wonder if this world is made for them. Is it just to do as just as seen, or breathe for the first time on your own? Not part of machines until part-time machinist myself, the machinations of assisted breath having kept me alive to upon command do so when 3 days later told breathe, breathe. Does it make sense to want to oppress others for sake of saying the oppressors need to pay reparations? Neutrons under their own governance need not be directed wayward to shipwreck their potential. So there's a lot of language in there that unless you have been in that kind of world, you don't like neutrons. It's like neutrals, unaffiliated, like non-organizational members and such, and other things like that. So it's a long story, but I'm doing a documentary on my life about surviving Rikers Island as a pacifist.
Wow, thank you for sharing that. That's amazing. That seems like a very, very powerful story and documentary. So encouraging you to continue that on the draft. Okay, Judelie or Mel? Oh, wait. There's two of you. Oh, there's a raised hand for Judelie. So did you guys want to talk?
Yes, I did. I'm sorry. We have like 5 technology setups. So I was trying to figure out where the mic is.
I was trying to figure out how you were in 2 screens. Okay, this makes sense now.
Yeah, sorry. Okay. So just for context, I've been writing a book. I'm not gonna minimize it. I was gonna do this, but I have been writing a book for a while now. And it's, the original idea of it was writing on, kind of memoir narrative on healing intergenerational racialized trauma. Really colonization-based trauma.
Right.
In my family. And then last year during the retreat, it is related to trauma and healing from trauma, but I'm also living with a grandparent who was just recently diagnosed with dementia. And a lot of the original idea was based on wanting to capture her memory. So when I did my DWA retreat that was the focus of my book, was to collect my grandmother's stories before her memories were completely gone. So I just got back from the Dominican Republic, and her dementia has accelerated. And last retreat, I was talking to one of the facilitators, and I was telling her my idea, and with Angie, and one of the other facilitators was like, "This is about your grandmother. This book is about your grandmother." So I'm pivoting the focus, like the context of it is intergenerational trauma, but the focus is my grandmother, because she's the access point to our ancestors. Like, she's the eldest in my lineage. So I just kind of continued writing. So I write it in bits and pieces, right? And I haven't written for the book in a very long time. And I have some thoughts on it just based on your question and your prompt. Though our family has its fair share of trauma, inherited and new, there have and are many moments of joy. In addition to my and my family trauma genealogy, I'd like to share my family's joy genealogy. First, I must say that compared to July's visit, this 2024, to see my grandmother, her dementia has progressed significantly. The last time I saw her, she was replaying her trauma story from childhood. To others, it sounded like a broken record that has been stored for decades. This was true for me as well. But when I decided to really listen, it sounded like undrowning, el desahogo final, begging me to keep her memories alive because there was a time limit with an expiration date. And I stopped there.
Wow. That was really powerful. And thank you, because the fact that you decided to go to the scary thing, to write the scary thing that you've been putting off a little bit, that is the whole point of the vomit draft. And I think we can all agree that that was very beautiful. I'll speak for everyone. But you said you had some last thoughts about that, or questions. What did you want to say before we move?
Oh, yeah. It's being like, what is it for me, right? The creative flow, getting into that state. So I share, I think Alani mentioned this. I'm hoping that I'm pronouncing your name correctly. When do we have access to this creative moments? And I feel like I have moments where I just have words and they just come out of me. They're pouring out of me. And I'm like, I can't even sit still. I can't sleep because I'm like thinking about words. And sometimes I have to ignore them, right? And then there are other times where it's complete drought. Drought. So I've been in drought mode. But what's interesting is I will put this in bunny ears, right? I've been in drought mode, but as soon as I sat down and you're like, word vomit, I think it's a decent draft of a piece for my book.
I agree with you.
Right? So it's like, girl.
I agree with you. Thank you for saying that, and everything in divine timing, right? Because that was exactly what we needed to segue to this. It's like, how do you get there? How do you get to this inspired state, right? Your inspiration may have nothing at all to do with the actual writing, like nothing. It might be to walk your dog. It might be to play a certain song. It might be to text a certain person. It's really not your job to question it. It's your job to do it and to honor it, right? So again, your creative flow might have nothing to do with your creative project, but if you want to get back into that flow, it's really about honoring these hunches, right? For me, it was purchasing a maleta that was too expensive for me at one point in my life. Don't ask me why that's what it was, but somehow I heard a whisper of buy this particular maleta, and if I didn't do it, I was going to get creatively stagnant. So you might not know where this is coming from, right? You're honoring something that's beyond you, right? And it can honestly feel quite contrary to what your ego wants, and it might not make logical sense. So you're going to kick and scream and whine the whole way through, right? And you're going to create blockages in you, right? So we're saying, oh, we're not getting that eureka, that lightning bolt moment, or we're not overflowing with things. But the truth is that you never stop receiving the signs,
if you don't honor them, you're going to start creating those energetic blockages that don't allow the new inspirations to get in, right? So your flow might be go for a walk. Your flow might say sleep. It might say go to a museum. It might say dance in the mirror. I actually made a post about how twerking is a really good way to get your your energy flowing and your energy moving toward, like, you know, it might be break up with someone. It might be really honest with someone and forget, you know, forget your ego, you know, and express all your feelings for that person, you know, and maybe only you understand that, but it's all connected. It's all intertwined. It's all there to help you. Your body is actually brilliant. The flow is brilliant. It knows what it needs. And it might not just be ready to put the punch. Maybe the vomit draft exercise is phenomenal because, you know, you don't have to be ready. You just have to have an inkling of something you want to say, right? But there's so many other things that kind of help you to open up those energetic channels. Are y'all still with me here? Does this make sense? Is any of this resonating? Okay.
Yeah.
Rarely, but sometimes you will get this earth-shaking, undeniable lightning bolt moment, and then you spend your rest of the day, as I said before, asking the universe, send me the sign, send me the thing, you know? But they're not going to be there. They're going to be in the whispers, and our job is to honor them, right? We're being guided. We're being guided, and we have to honor those whispers. So what does the kicking and screaming look like, right? It looks like sophisticated distractions, sophisticated excuses. Some of them might be, I'm mad at my boyfriend. I'm mad at my mom. I'm mad at the world. I'm mad at my rep. I need to stay online. I need to be informed. And so I need to put this off, right? So it requires some surrender to recognize these things in ourselves. It requires a high level of self-awareness. So I'm gonna, oh wait, let me go ahead and open my deck. I want us to go into another part of this. Does everybody see it? All right. So your inspiration may have nothing at all to do with your writing or other pressing projects yet, but you follow the whispers, right? Or in other words, honor even the slightest divine pulls. It's not your job to question them. It's your job to honor them, okay? So now we're going to do something. We're going to list our sophisticated distractions, right? I want to take a second to write these. This was actually an exercise that I learned from a Mind Valley course that I took, but I want us to really think about why you wouldn't honor your flow. And I want us to go deep all the way from the very obvious, right? Like, you know, whatever, I'm scared and what, you know, to the high level distractions of I need to stay informed. I have other work to do. I got to take care of my kids. These are actually, they might sound legitimate, but they're actually high level reasons why we don't honor our creative flow. And why do we don't honor our divine creative pulls. So let's take 5 minutes. I might make it shorter than that because we're actually running low on time. But I want us to list them out. Just list as many excuses as you can think of why you don't honor your creative flow. What do you think they are, these high level distractions? I'll start the timer now. Play with this and be very honest with yourselves. What are the things you tell yourself after you have that download or even a slight inspiration that stops you from following through? Some comfortable exercise, which is why we're doing it. 2 more minutes. I shortened the time. Just as many as you can. Try to get them all out. All right. So let's stop there. I need 2 people to share what came up for them on their list, and then we're gonna keep going.
So I don't know how to raise my hand, but I have things to say. And I've been trying to raise my hand for like the past couple of.
Oh, I'm sorry. And I'm
It's
sorry,
okay.
I haven't been that great at looking at the chat because I
No,
can't see
it's
it in the
okay. I'm like, wait, I have to speak because it's funny that that prompt led me back to like what the first prompt did for me, which was you somehow invited me to hold that fear from a different stance, because it keeps happening where it's like I feel ready to speak about this, and as soon as I sit down, somehow now I gotta wash the dishes that I knew I could have washed before. Somehow now I gotta go fix the cabinet, the laundry, everything else. I sit down, but then when I did it the first time, it's like, oh, it's fear. Like I'm scared. Like in my heart is bumping fast, and even like as I'm writing it, I realize that I'm beating around the bush. I'm trying to like, I have so much fillers, bullshit. I even wrote that where I was like, every time I know I'm ready, or at least I deeply feel so ready to lay it on the page, the fear comes in disguised as everything else. I become aware of it. The bitch is a distraction. This is what I wrote. But somehow taking action feels worse than not knowing.
Yeah.
And then it like everything I know I am distracted by, like sophisticated distractions, what it comes at, because it happens to me daily. Even when I do get the lightning, the bolts, it's like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm gonna go write it. I sit down, I open my notebook, and it's like, oh bitch, you're wilding. You gotta go do everything else but this, because how do I tell you that what I have to say feels like a betrayal to my tree? How do I tell you that my truth is actually defying the whole conditioning and programming of my lineage? And how do I tell you that, yes, mama did so much, but also hurt so much, you know? And it's like, yeah, that was that. But all of my distractions is everything, like literally everything.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Arlenis, for just raising your voice and saying this. I can imagine so many people relate to this right now. And I'll tell you this, creative flow needs to be expressed no matter what. It doesn't care if you have 5,000 kids. It wants to be expressed through you. It does not care what your responsibilities are. And this is when we talk about high level sophisticated excuses. We are very smart human beings, and we know how to trick ourselves into believing that this is not the most important why in our lives, and not the thing that we have to honor. So just, have that list ready. Eduardo, we'll go with you, and then we're gonna keep going.
Sounds to me like there's a lot of commonalities between everybody's mission, because I too am kind of in a mission to help people not waste so much time And I've surpassed many of my excuses, but I wrote them all down as I faced them not so long ago. So I wrote, the moment has passed. I must survive. Other people need me more than I need me. I should focus on the now. I should focus on women. I should focus on men. I should focus on my family. I should focus on the needy. I have other things to do. They will judge me. They won't get it. And this will ruin me. And I will always be remembered as this, even if I change my mind. And then finally I wrote, why does it have to be me? And it was a very telling moment for me there. So yeah, yeah.
Thank you, Eduardo. That was so, yeah, that was powerful too. And I can relate to all of these too, everything that we all go through, right? But what are we placing at the highest, most important thing, right? Are we placing what others think of us, or this divine, message from the universe that's so powerful, that's landed in us and is asking to be expressed through us? What are we valuing the most, right? Okay, Felix, I'm gonna go with you because I actually did have an inclination to pick one more person for some reason that was in my spirit. So go ahead.
Okay. For me, the only three are faulty memory and time and task management. If I could remember like as much as I write, remember my pieces, like I'd be unstoppable, right? That's just how I feel. And I'd put in the 10,000 hours plus, even like more than that. And
Yeah.
I'm just ready to go. So like money, like I got good credit, I got good credit, so I'll finance my dreams that way. But other than faulty memory and time and task management, I'm on one and on point.
Thank you, Felix, for sharing that. I just love the way spirit works, because every time that I have a little shift in spirit to do something, it actually leads me to the segue of our next section, which is phenomenal. So, and our next section is honoring your craft, right? And so, Felix, you just shared, I have my management, you know. So honoring your craft, what does that look like? Right? I've heard these things from a lot of people, like, hey, nobody wants to give me a chance. And it's like a person who like wrote one thing one time. This is a self-limiting belief. This is a high level excuse, high level sophisticated excuse, right? So when we're honoring our craft, like, are you hitting the creative gym every day? Right? So for you, Felix, is this, am I memorizing, you know, am I using exercises to help me memorize my poems, or the projects that you want to memorize? What are the ways that you're going to the gym every day, right? To honor the craft and work on the areas that you need to work on, right? And also, are we getting high off the attention or the development of the craft, right? Because this is really about the development of the craft. What are you honoring here? What should be making you high? If we're leaving it up to other people's validation, we're going to run into a lot of issues. We're going to run into a lot of problems. So I want us to take just a couple of minutes to just write 3 ways you exercise your craft. Just 3 things that you're going to do, that you do now, or that you're going to do to exercise the craft. What is it that you need? Yes.
Can you say that again? You said something right now that just kind of like gave me a lightning bolt. Are you
Okay.
you asking a question whether are
I think I
you
know.
something with the high or is it something else? Could you repeat that?
Yeah. Are you getting high off the attention or the development of the craft? Are you honoring the divine creative pulls? What should be making you high is the development of the craft, right? So here I want you to write 3 exercises. Just how are you developing your craft? How are you working on those parts? We have the internets, we have the interwebs, and there's really nothing that we cannot find. So I want you to either list things that you're doing or things that you will do. And we'll pick on a couple people to talk about that. All right. Timer's on. I'll give us like 2 more minutes for that. And think about really what it is that you need to work on. How are you going to the gym every day? If you're a stand-up comedian, are you getting your reps? Are you going to practice stand-up comedy at clubs? I don't know if there's any stand-up comedians here, but that would be cool. All right, just a few more seconds. Okay. All right, let's stop there. And if anybody, maybe one or two people want to share what they wrote down, please do. Ilani, go ahead.
So my three are, and two of them is things that I actually do, and then another one is just something that I'm trying to do. Well, one is attending workshops like this, going to open mics, going to art festivals, hearing other poets perform. Another is just trying to do 5-minute sprints every day. Even if it's only 5 minutes, like that's enough for just to keep the practice going. And something that I want to do is to start a writers group on campus because I go to Hollins University and we have a few, but they're not very consistent. And I really want a group that is meeting regularly and who are supporting each other outside of the club.
Awesome. Wonderful. Anyone else want to share?
One thing I do, I've been doing for the past 4 years is morning pages. It helps me with everything in general, but I feel like I am open to learning new ways to honor that for this specific project. Because I feel like morning pages just help me overall as one, a writer, two, a human being. But for this specific project, I don't really have anything that resonates or sticks like for long periods of time.
Okay. Ina, to answer your question, morning pages are, I mean, I'm assuming, Arlenis, you got this from The Artist Way. It's actually one of my favorite books. Yeah, and it's basically just writing, it's kind of doing a vomit draft every single morning, just kind of writing stream of thought, whatever comes to you. It could be to do with a particular project that you're working on, but it's it's 3 pages every day, and you just commit to doing that every single day. And I would recommend everyone to read The Artist Way because it's just such a phenomenal book. And I honestly had all my clients read The Artist Way when I was doing management. So I encourage you to do the same. Please, if you purchase it, do not put it on your shelf and leave it sitting there. Like, read it. It's life-changing, honestly. And so I encourage everyone to read it. Thank you, Angie, for sharing that link. Okay, and then we'll do one more. Felix, let's go ahead.
Yes, I started actually freestyle rapping at home to no instrumental and two instrumentals. Doing more public freestyling, improv poetry and storytelling performances publicly. And then to help my memory, because it's trauma related, I signed up for EMDR, neurofeedback, and cognitive processing therapies. So yeah, I'm just doing the work to be a whole healthy human being.
That's wonderful. Awesome. So I find that oftentimes what's lacking, it's absolutely not talent. It's just the commitment to the craft, right? Like, are you searching for the answers in the areas that you need most? Like, are you working at improving in those areas? So are you truly devoted to getting to, oh, nice, Ina, for ordering it. Are you truly devoting yourself to getting better? Um, you'd be surprised how many times people are frustrated, like creative saying like, well, XYZ hasn't happened for me yet. Well, I haven't sold this, or I haven't, landed, this client, or that publisher, or that rep, or, when it's really, if we're really honest with ourselves, that you've been kind of ambivalent about working on your craft, about getting better, about actually doing the thing and overcoming the fear that's stopping you from honoring those divine messages, right? So also watch out for your devotion to like negative talk, right? Yeah, thank you, Felix. Thank you for sharing that. Felix said on the chat, it's trauma trying to stay in front of it. Flashbacks are debilitating. Absolutely. And you have to know your process and how to be kind to yourself in that, right? And maybe it is more of a support group too, or maybe it is someone that you work with alongside. Maybe it's a coach, maybe it's a, therapy, and you already mentioned that that's what, that's what you're working on as well. So um tapping is actually one of my favorite ways to restore my calm. If you do tapping, oh yes, Mal. uh Tapping, if anyone who's not familiar with tapping, you could go on YouTube, find some tapping exercises. There's tons of them online. And it really helps to calm anxiety, and kind of get you regulated and grounded again. So and also, some of our biggest impulses is to isolate. And I think we talked about this in the beginning. And connecting is really where it's at, right? Like, our tendency when we're feeling creatively stagnant is to go and be on our own. I encourage even just calling someone and saying, hey, how are you? You know, how are you? Like, you don't have to have anything that you need to do for them. They don't have to do anything that they need to do for you. But literally, I think we need to be making our go to connection versus isolation, you know, especially when we're feeling that we're going through a big kind of window of creative blockages, it's to really rip that band-aid, is to call just even one or two people, even a day. Try to make that an exercise, to say, hey, what's up, how are you doing, and just talk about anything that's going on. Okay. So you also might be pointed to a certain book that you need to read, again, to continue to devote yourself to the craft. Just trust. Do. This is what it is. Mela, go ahead.
I just think it's funny that you've been using terms that I didn't think anyone else used. Like when you did the vomit draft, I call mine brain vomit.
Yeah.
With my ADHD, anxiety, like I tend to like get overwhelmed easily. So when I do the brain
Mhm.
vomit of what's in your head, I just write it. It doesn't matter. Even if it's you have to go pick up the shorts in the living room, it doesn't matter. Write it. But then now you
Mhm.
said the go-to, I call it my go-to pack of when I'm having like anxiety or just having a low. And I include like what are the things that my go-to pack, right? And I have my friends tell me that to remind me of that when I'm going through like a spiraling down, like Mel, go-to pack. And I think of like Dora with her backpack, but it's like I do that, right? So it's tapping, the really cold showers for 3 minutes, or being by water. Like, just I have a list of things that are like my go-to pack. So I just think
Yeah.
I always think it's amazing how as humans we think that we're so different and we're really connected. And you just
Mhm.
mentioning those things right now, and me thinking that I was the only one who had the names for that, I think it's awesome. So thank you.
Absolutely. And thank you for sharing that. Yeah, we have the answers. We're all made from the same stuff, and we have this infinite intelligence in us. And when you have your go-to pack, you're thinking, oh, there's like a little tiny whisper in you that's saying, go to your go-to pack. And sometimes we tend to ignore it because we're not honoring the whispers. And again, I'm here to encourage you that that is the path. Those are the ways. So yeah. All right. So we're going to move on now. We have 15 minutes left. So I'm going to try to get through this as best possible. So let's see. So now, honoring your craft will build confidence. Confidence begins to obliterate the self-limiting beliefs. Okay. So honoring your craft obliterates self-limiting beliefs. We're not going to go to the gym and have a six-pack on day one. We're going to start going to the gym. And if we are intentional about honoring our craft, we're going to start seeing the changes incrementally. So just super important to remember that. I think that we lose confidence because we put something out and we're like, it's not perfect, but you weren't designed to be perfect. This was designed to just be an expression. Okay. And then honoring the craft, continues to improve the output. So, all right. So then being the CEO of your creative life, I think this is just very important. So being a successful creative means taking radical responsibilities for the inspirations in your life. You are the CEO of your creative life, not your editor, not your publisher, not your rep. You are, and the most successful people know this and understand this, right? So how do you start doing this, right? How do you start taking radical responsibility for your inspirations and for your life? Well, you have to understand but one of the areas, there's many ways to do this, but one of the things that would be important to, when you're thinking in a CEO mindset, and this is your, your career, your inspirations, the things that you want to put out, it's what type of project are you working on and who is it for, right? The people that are receiving your art, that are receiving your work, those are the people that you need to care the most about. They dictate everything, right? Everything else after that is secondary. Everything else after that follows, right? But they need to find you. They need to find you first and react to you first. So what's your target audience? We're going to go ahead and do this. So who do you hope will be affected by your stories? Try to be as specific as possible. Who needs to be impacted by what you're writing or by the project that you're working on? And I'm going to encourage somebody who has not spoken yet to raise their hand. And if you have spoken and you want to speak, please raise your hand too at the end of this. But I do want to encourage and give a little push to those who haven't shared to share, as we are exercising, putting ourselves out there. So again, who do you hope will be affected by your work, by the story that you're telling, by the projects that you're doing? 3 minutes. All right, 1 more minute. Really try to be as specific as possible. Who is your audience? Who would resonate with this story? Who do you care about being impacted by this story or this project? All right. Who can share? Who can share what they wrote down? Go ahead, Ilani.
So I wrote down a few things. I specifically wrote down the Black, queer, women identifying, and disabled community, all the identities that I belong to and also support, politicians and other leaders who are capable of making positive change and addressing the issues I'm bringing awareness to, people outside of these identities, who I want to like help gain some understanding and empathy. Specifically young Black girls who also dream of becoming a poet and who need role models. And lastly, people within my own community, like Rochester and Roanoke residents, whose experiences have yet to be captured.
Amazing. Awesome. Okay. Let me get 2 more, please. Go ahead, Emmanuel.
Yeah, I wrote down similar to Alani. The first one is people like me who are disabled Latinx and also grew up within urban settings, you know, second generation Dominican, Puerto Rican Americans who share the same wounds and trauma as me. I think they deserve to have their voices heard and their stories told. The second, I don't have children yet, but after having learned more about my grandparents and my ancestors, I think it's important for me to leave behind a body of work that my children and my grandchildren can look back and find solace, find inspiration, find some peace, and just say, you know, he went through it and I know I can get through it too. And then finally, um, my writing lately has been leaning more towards telling my parents that I love them and making sure that through my writing, they understand, like they, even though they made a lot of mistakes as parents, like I still love you. And the reason why I write is to make sure that you understand that and that you raise like a decent human being. So
Amazing. Thank you. Sally?
Sorry, y'all, it's a little loud. I'm in the car on my way to church. But I just want to thank everybody for their shares, and I've been very present. This has been a beautiful, beautiful workshop. For me, especially, there has been a shift in my writing after the LA fires. We can get so wrapped our identities. I feel like I'm writing for those who are in between spaces, all puns intended, the space between my gap. My poetry book is called Between Spaces. And I think as a collective here in LA, we're in this nomad stage of like, our identity can get so wrapped up in our career, who we are, what we have, right? And we can't take none of it with us, right? And so I loved what Emmanuel said, like, what legacy are you leaving behind? And is the legacy in your works, or is the legacy in who we are, right? Like the core, the true identity of who we are. And so as artists, this is the time more than ever to truly that. And so my, my work has been amplified on a whole other level because of these fires.
Thank you. You cut out a little bit, but I think was able to piece together message. So thank you so much for sharing. Well, yeah, I mean, no one's gonna pass you by and say, you know what, that person looks like they could write. Let me offer them a publishing deal. No one's gonna say, oh wow, that person looks like they can act. Let me put them in a movie. So we have to find our people, right? We have to find the people that resonate with our work, and we have to share the work. We have to share it. That's having the mindset of radical accountability, right? For all that you do, right? So yeah, so I'm actually just going through this because we have 5 minutes left. So I want to make sure that we wrap on a high note here. Yeah, not every idea too is a winning idea. Not every execution is a winning execution. That's why it's so important to know your why too, right? Go ahead and share this again. So, you know, I really want you to kind of take away from this part of the the workshop, like to now focus on the higher ups, right? This is not about the higher ups. The impact on your desired audience is the priority. So find them, serve them, and grow with them. All right. So last prompt, and we're gonna take 1 minute to do this, and actually might even just call some folks here to say this out loud real quick. But what would you regret not doing before you die? Just write the first thing that comes to mind. I actually do not want you guys to take too much time to think about this. Just what would you regret not doing before you die? Okay. I'm gonna give you like 1 minute, and then I just want people to raise their hands, tell me the thing. Okay. All right, we're gonna fly right into it. Judelis, then Emmanuel. Oops.
Can you hear me? I was just gonna say you can skip because I couldn't find my technology. Can you hear me?
No, I can hear you. I can hear you
Okay.
now.
Not writing my book. That was the first thing that came to mind.
Amazing. Okay. Emmanuel.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's a bit, but I'm gonna say it real fast. Like I would regret not respecting my inner magic, and I think this workshop has really resonated with me in respecting my inner divinity. Because Sally, you mentioned going to church, and it reminded me of something as a creator that grounds me in that the first line in the Bible in Genesis is that God spoke and he created the world and the universe. And I think as writers, we have to remember that our words, just like God, when he created the universe, our words is what's going to propel us to the type of reality that we want to live. So I think if I live a life where I don't respect my inner magic, if I don't respect the positive creative energy that God gave me, then I feel like my life will not be fulfilled. So
Awesome. Thank you. And I see some in the chat. Being me fully, loudly from Felix, writing the books from Elsie, traveling the world from Milani. Anyone else? I think Judelis, you still have your hand up. I don't know if that's Mel. Oh no, he's not there. But Eduardo, go ahead.
First thing that popped into my mind was not having a happy family. And it's interesting because obviously I know that in order for me to have a happy family, I must be happy with myself and create for myself first and foremost. And so in a roundabout way, making art will allow me to live the life that I want and to hold space for this family that I want to create someday. So yeah.
Awesome. Okay. I just want to leave you with this. Oops, not in presentation mode. Here we go. Life is most fully lived on the edges of your creative discomfort. Okay. I want to say that again. Life is most fully lived on the edges of your creative discomfort. So push yourself. There is an exhilaration that comes with living on those edges. With living on the edges of that's where you really find the magic and that divinity that you were talking about, Emmanuel. That's where you really find it, on the edges of your creative discomfort. So always try to find them and push yourself into them. That's what's going to get you most quickly into your flow as well. Okay. That's it. That's all I got to your clarity, y'all. You can find me on my website, carolinaalduey.com. You can sign up for my newsletter there that I will start building. I have not started it yet. And you can follow me on Creative Clarity Coaching on Instagram, since we do not have the TikToks anymore. But this has been wonderful. I hope that y'all got some tools out of this. That deck will be shared with you, so you'll have all that information. And yeah, I just want to continue to encourage you and, empower you to honor those creative hunches, because they're there for you to live your most fullest, joyous life. Okay.
Thank you, Carolina.
Absolutely.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. I will be posting this video recording. If you want to look back on it, make sure you follow Carolina. And also, just to remind you guys, we have like we're in the middle of January. 2 more weeks where I'm moving all the writing content from the main website, and it's going to be on Substack and via our WhatsApp members group. So I put the link to the WhatsApp group in the chat. If you want to continue receiving salon info after the 31st of January, otherwise you're not gonna find it on the website. It's only going to be announced in WhatsApp and via the Substack. Okay.
I have a
So yeah.
question. So do we have to open up accounts on Substack?
If you want to, Rosita, but if you join the WhatsApp group, you'll receive the same information
Ah, okay.
for the
So we're going back to WhatsApp. We used
yeah.
to-
I mean, WhatsApp thankfully has changed to a model that I could finally be not stressed with because before it was a lot, but now now they included all these other things that makes it easier to manage certain groups. So yeah.
Okay, great.
And I'll try to be intentional about emailing you, Rosita, because I know you, it was probably easier for you to go through the website. But I don't know,
It
anyone
was, yes.
have questions,
Well, you know, they're
concerns,
familiar.
comments? No, we good? Okay, guys. Carolina, you put your info in the chat for people who want to follow?
It's in the deck that I'm going to share with you, but I can put it here too.
This workshop was like full. It was like meaty. It was like, you know, full of information and insights. Thank you so much.
Nice. Yes,
Absolutely.
please give Carolina your feedback, folks.
Yes, please do. I welcome and appreciate all feedback. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, bye everyone. Do take care and keep well.
Yeah.
Peace and blessings.
Happy Sunday. Bye. Carolina, don't go nowhere.
Oh,
Bye, everyone.